The 1916 Proclamation. The Provisional Government of the Irish Republic to the people of Ireland, Irish men and Irish women, in the name of God and of the dead generations from which she receives her old tradition of nationhood. Ireland, through us, summons her children to her flag and strikes for her freedom. Having organised and trained her manhood in her secret revolutionary organisation, the Irish Republican Brotherhood, and in her open military organisations, the Irish Volunteers and the Irish Citizens' Army. Having patiently perfected her discipline, having resolutely waited for the right moment to reveal herself, she now seizes that moment and, with the support of her exiled children in America and her gallant allies in Europe, but in the first, relying on her own strength, she strikes in full confidence of victory. We declare the right of the people of Ireland to the ownership of Ireland and to the unfettered control of Irish destinies to be sovereign and indefeasible. The long usurpation of that right by a foreign people and government has not extinguished that right, nor can that right ever be extinguished except by the destruction of the Irish people. In every generation, the people of Ireland have asserted their right to national freedom and sovereignty. 6 times in the last 300 years, they have asserted it in arms. Standing on that fundamental right, we again assert it in arms. And in the face of the world, we hereby proclaim the Irish Republic as a sovereign, independent state, and we pledge our lives and the lives of our comrades in arms to the cause of its freedom, its welfare, and its exaltation among the nations. The Irish Republic is entitled to, and hereby claims, the allegiance of every Irish man and Irish woman. The Republic guarantees religious and civil liberties, equal rights and equal opportunities for all its citizens, and is resolved to pursue the happiness and prosperity of the whole nation and of all its parts, cherishing all her children equally, oblivious of any differences carefully fostered by an alien government which have divided a minority from the majority in the past. Until our arms have presented the opportune moment for the establishment of a permanent national government, representative of the whole people and elected by the suffrages of all her men and women, the provisional government, duly constituted, will administer the civil and military affairs of the Republic and trust for the people. We place the cause of the Irish Republic under the protection of the Most High God, whose blessing we invoke upon our arms, and we pray that no one who serves that cause will dishonour it through cowardice, inhumanity, or rapine. In this supreme hour, the Irish nation must, by its valour and discipline, prove itself worthy of the august destiny to which it is called. Signed on behalf of the Provisional Government, Thomas Clark, Sean McDonald, Patrick Pearce, James Conway, Thomas MacDonald, Eamon Kent, Joseph Plunkett. Those words were spoken by Patrick Pearce on the steps of the General Post Office, Dublin, on Easter Monday, 1916, 100 years ago. They were a dignified explanation to the people of Ireland and to the world of the reasons for the uprising and what it was intended to achieve. In examining the 1916 proclamation, we must try to see it through 1916 Irish eyes, not 2016 New Zealand eyes. In 1916, Ireland was a colony of England, not an integral part of Britain like Scotland or Wales, but a quarry whose wealth was to be extracted without any regard for the rights of the native Irish. Moreover, many Irish leaders were beginning to have the premonition that the survival of the Irish nation was on the line. The 1916 uprising was a do-or-die effort to secure the survival of the Irish people. The 1916 proclamation was an integral part of the 1916 uprising. Many present the Irish Revolution as an eccentric Irish event. The Irish Revolution, although eccentric to the English Empire, was central to the progressive revolutionary stream of the Western world, a stream which constantly revitalised and nourished the Western world. In many ways, Ireland was the centre of the English colonial empire, and as Yeats put it in his poem The Second Coming, things fall apart, the centre cannot hold. Urged on by the proclamation, the centre of the English colonial empire collapsed under the weight of the Irish uprising. The 1916 proclamation is one of a number of historical revolutionary documents. The principles of these documents resonate in the 1916 proclamation. The principles of the proclamation resonate in these other documents. The proclamation is in illustrious company. It gains lustre from such company and it adds lustre to such company. Examining these other documents will help us to better understand the proclamation and place it in its proper perspective. The first one is the Magna Carta, the Great Charter of Liberties. This charter helped to secure liberty, justice and democratic representation. Rebel barons forced King John to sign this charter in 1215 at Runnymede. Lord Denning described this charter as the greatest constitutional document of all time, the foundation of the freedom of the individual against the arbitrary authority of the despot. The 1916 proclamation is Ireland's Magna Carta, for it also demands liberty, justice and democracy for the Irish people against the despot of English rule. In 1776, the American Congress declared independence. Out of respect for the opinions of mankind, they set out the causes of their declaration. Basically, that all have equal rights, among them life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness, and that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of such ends, it is the right and the duty of the people to alter it or abolish it. The government of Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all with the object of establishing an absolute tyranny over the states. The reasoning in the 1916 proclamation is indeed very similar to the reasoning in the American Declaration of Independence. Both documents and their accompanying revolutions were concerned with the termination of English tyranny and the establishment of a democratic government, a government of the people, by the people, for the people. A dozen years later, the French Revolution took place. Their central values were liberty, equality and fraternity, and the central document was the rights of man. These values and rights are the foundation stone of the 1916 proclamation. The French Revolution established a liberal democratic government, and historians widely acknowledge the importance of the French Revolution as it profoundly shaped the course of modern history. The 1916 proclamation is very much in tune with the spirit of the principles of the French Revolution. In 1893, New Zealand became the first country in the world to grant women national voting rights. These rights were not granted to women in England until 1928, 35 years later, and a dozen years after being proclaimed in the 1916 proclamation. These rights were granted in New Zealand through the normal parliamentary process. They were granted in England only after a great deal of strife and bloodshed. The 1916 proclamation makes very clear the political equality of men and women. The proclamation then is not just concerned with Irish nationalism, but also with the general suffrage of men and women. The revolutionary intent of the 1916 proclamation is very much in tune with this revolutionary act of New Zealand Parliament. In 1877, New Zealand Education Act established a national system of free primary education. Free secondary education was offered in 1914. These acts are very much in tune with the proclamation's affirmation of equal rights and equal opportunities for all its citizens. The 1916 proclamation then is a revolutionary document, very much in keeping with other mainstream and today highly respected revolutionary documents. These documents set out the rationale for the accompanying revolution, revolutions which invariably brought progress and improvement in human affairs. For Ireland, the effects of the 1916 uprising were indeed dramatic. In 1916, Ireland was one of the poorest countries in Europe, and Yeats's poem Easter 1916, "Be certain that they and I but live with motley is war." The word Ireland was synonymous with the word poverty. Today, the average wage in Ireland is higher than the average wage in England. The 1916 proclamation led to a vast improvement in the economic and social circumstances of the Irish people. It ensured the survival of the Irish nation. Finally, the 1916 proclamation is very much a living document. It applies as much to 2016 as it did to 1916. It's not just about the ending of the old way, but it's about establishing a new way and keeping to its founding principles. The document is for the ever building of an ever better world. The document affirms our Irish heritage, inheritance, and inherent rights and responsibilities in our ever revolutionary way.